Okay, I think we're gone. Good. Ms. Bridgewater, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
How are you this Saturday?
As well as to be expected on a on a Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. May I have the reset date, please?
Sure, it's going to be July 11th.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we're going to begin with our misdemeanor expedited accusation calendar. These are misdemeanor cases with the State Court of Fulton County. Individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon after being booked in, the cases have been formally accused. So this would be the defendant's first appearance before a judicial officer. If you are a defendant accused of one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember to exercise your right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. And you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Who do we have in courtroom 2?
Your Honor, we have position number 6,
Okay.
and you will have to do your announcement again once we're done with this position.
Not a problem. Thank you. All right, we have Fitzroy Clark, case number 24CR4212B, accused of public indecency on June 24th, 2024. Mr. Clark, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Angelo Dotis. Good afternoon, Mr. Dotis. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you, Your Honor.
You too. Let's see, who's going to be our prosecutor this afternoon? All right, while we're waiting for the prosecutor to appear, Mr. Howard, any priors?
Clark, fourth arrest. Last arrest was 05. Possession of a pistol under 18 years old. Reckless conduct contributing to the delinquency of a minor.
That's good. Thank you. Prosecutor? Mr. Rhodes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. What number is this on the calendar?
Position 6, State versus Fitzroy Clark. Clark with a silent E.
All right, I believe that's going to be ASG Makaki. Is ASG Makaki on?
Yes, she is on the Zoom.
ASG Makaki?
She might be having technical issues.
And Your Honor, before while we wait for those technical issues, are we able to handle this position not live streamed?
I can do that. I'm not sure who's hosting. I think it's Miss Bridgewater. Are you host? Miss Grace?
No, it'll be Miss Grace.
All right, Miss Grace, would you pause the live stream on this matter, please?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sorry, Judge.
Just a moment. Just give us a moment. Yeah.
If
Yes, Ms.
we
Grace?
go into a breakout room with this, because if I cancel the live stream, I won't be able to get it back connected.
All right. I'm still waiting on Miss Mokaki to appear, so give me a moment. Deputy in courtroom 2, we're going to go into a breakout room as soon as the prosecutor appears, okay? So please watch the screen.
Did you see the add-on?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Tracy Mokaki with the Solicitor General's office. Would you please start your video and unmute?
She did have connections issues. Look like she's reconnecting now.
Okay, there we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and see you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
All right, Miss Grace, if you could place everyone whose video is on into a breakout room, please.
Oh, let me make sure that's you, Judge. Mr. Dotis.
Mr.
Bridgewater.
Dotis, Miss Mokaki, and Miss Bridgewater. Yeah. I don't think our two, Mr. Pierre Thomas, okay, if you want to be in there too.
Okay, and how about Mr. Rhodes?
Mr. Rhodes, would you like to join us?
Mr. Thomas is fine.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Courtroom 2. Okay. You need to be added to the breakout room?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, while we are waiting for the rest of the folks to come back into courtroom 2, Mr. Dodis, I'd like to address position 9, which is Jelani Horton.
Thank
And
you.
who is the prosecutor in that matter?
That would be me, Your Honor.
Ms. McCarkey, Mr. Horton has alerted the court that the position 24 CR 4214G, a new accusation, perhaps may be a duplicate from a prior case, 24 CR 783G. Incident dates appear to be the same, February 15th, 2024. I'm not certain. Let's see, the last booking was on February 16th, 2024. I'm trying to open the,
And yes, Judge. And when I click the jailing and I go to the February 16th intake paperwork, it does have the warrants that are the same for the case that's been accused today.
okay. I just
Okay.
wanted Ms. Mokaki to look at it. So the February 15 appears to be at 6167 Sable Fox Road in South Fulton, involving the same accused. And blue purple jacket, Officer Mitchell, and the warrant appears to be signed by the same officer on February 16th at 12:25 a.m.
Okay.
Good
So-
afternoon, Judge, if I may. Sheila Thornton.
Y-
You're correct. It is a duplicate. We
Okay.
accused this case February the 22nd, 2024.
Okay, so unless there is any objection from the state, I'm going to dismiss this accusation as a duplicate. Mr. Horton unfortunately has open felony matters from a June 28th, 2024 situation. So that's the that's the matter that's holding him.
Yep, no objection.
Okay, Mr. Dotis, position 9 is dismissed as a duplicate per court order.
Thank you, Judge. And I discussed everything with Mr. Horton, and he did waive his presence while he deals with his other matters.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see. I'm still waiting on courtroom 2. Was there anything else we had to announce from this calendar? Are there any waiver of appearances or anything to that effect?
I have a question, Your Honor. Will I need to get an order stating that?
I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, I had put in the chat. Oh, okay. I see positions 2, 5, 7, and 9. I guess I don't need it for 9 now. Will be waivers of presence.
2, 5, and 7 are waivers of presence.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This announcement is addressed to the individuals in courtroom 2. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to commence with the expedited accusation calendar with the State Court of Fulton County. These are misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail, and soon thereafter, the cases were formally accused. Hence, this would be the defendant's initial appearance with a judicial officer at State Court of Fulton County. When I call your case, I will let you know what's your accusation number, what are the charges brought against you, to appoint counsel for you if necessary, and to also set a bond and give you a court date if appropriate. Please remember that when we are addressing each individual case, you have a right to remain silent about the facts and circumstances of your case. Anything that you choose to share in open court, which is not only being recorded but live streamed, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Deputy, who should we begin with?
We could start with position number 3, Mrs. Briggins.
All right. State versus Morgan Briggins, accused of criminal trespass, willful obstruction of an officer from an incident date of June 28th, 2024, under accusation 24 CR 4211H. Ms. Briggins, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Dotis. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
With the rest, 2022 trespass, obstruction, battery on martyr, 2022 affray, 2021 disorderly conduct, trespass on martyr. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Mokaki, any recommendations?
Yes, Your Honor. So in this case where the defendant is accused of remaining on the MARTA station after being told to leave due to her usage of profane language towards the station agent, when the officer attempted to arrest the defendant began pushing and kicking the officer to avoid arrest. The state's recommendation is a $500 surety bond on the trespass and a $1,500 surety bond on the obstruction. Stay away from the 5 Points MARTA station, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right. That's a radical drop from the warrants bond of 20,000 surety. So, Mr. Dotis, anything else to add?
Your Honor, yes. Ms. Briggins is 24 years old. She does have a few other cycles. What I will note is that she's working to get on steady ground. She comes from Alabama, where most of her family is from, and she attempted to relocate to get a fresh start. She now has housing in Decatur, Georgia with a friend, and I'm happy to make sure that that address is correct in the chat, with her sister Ambrosia. Your Honor, Ms. Briggins does have a 1-year-old son who's currently staying with her sister while she's dealing with this matter. She graduated high school in Alabama. When she came to Georgia to Atlanta from Alabama, she did not have her ID or her birth certificate together, which has allowed her to struggle these past couple of years with employment and getting steady back on her feet. Your Honor, that's her main focus right now, and I'm happy to have us make sure that our office is providing her with any tools to make sure she's getting those items so that she can secure steady employment and housing. Your Honor, she is clear that she would need to comply with any active MARTA suspensions and any contact orders that this court allows, Your Honor, but she cannot afford any amount of bond at this time. So we would just ask for a signature bond with these conditions.
Understood. Thank you. On the criminal trespass and the willful obstruction is $500 each. It is a $1,000 surety bond. Her next court date is July 11th. She will need to update her current mailing address as well as any emergency contact information she has, especially if she's got family and kin in different locations. And we'll take it from there. Thank you,
Judge.
also to comply with all active MARTA suspensions.
And can I give that updated contact information to Ms. Bridgewater today? Or
That would be good. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Mhm.
I got a question.
Yes, Mr. Howard?
What was the bond for Clark, the breakout guy?
It was a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial services level 2.
Next, we can go to position number 10, Mr. Jackson.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Howard. I thought you were in the breakout. I do apologize. Thank you. I'm sorry, Deputy, what was that position number?
Position 10.
10. Thank you. This is State versus Davon Jackson, accused of theft by taking from June 28th, 2024. Mr. Davon, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Dotis. Mr. Howard, any priors?
Second arrest, 2023 burglary. It's 23 CP 224337. And felony
4337, got it?
23 CP 224338 for the felony theft by taking.
Okay, 338, 224, 338. Would that be correct?
Yes. The first one ending in 337, the other one 338.
Burglary and felony theft by taking.
Correct.
Oh, thank you so much. Ms. Mokeke?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant is accused of stealing the wallet of James Brandberry III. Mr. Brandberry, the victim, had just left his dialysis treatment and was at a traffic light interacting with a group of boys selling water. He rolled down his window to get some money and his wallet was sitting in his lap when the defendant reached in, grabbed the wallet, and ran. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, James Brandberry, a 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. curfew, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Thank you. Mr. Dotis?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Jackson is 17 years old. As stated, he has no convictions or any FTAs or anything like that on his record. Your Honor, I have good contact for Mr. Jackson as well as both of his parents who are going to support him. while he deals with these matters. I do have a good address, which is updated in Odyssey, a good email. Mr. Jackson's a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia and is currently working on finishing up his high school diploma at the Phoenix High School, where he is a full-time student. Your Honor, we just asked, instead of a surety bond, for a signature bond so that Mr. Jackson can get back on track.
Are his parents on Zoom?
Your Honor, I was not able to get his parents on Zoom yet. I did leave a message.
Okay. And Mr. Howard, I don't see a booking for the
Yeah, it's under I think a different name. Hold on. It's two different bookings though. Let me pull it. You don't see the open case booking, that's what you're saying?
yes.
All right, let me pull it. Yeah, they put two N's on one of the booking, and the other one got one N on the end of the first name. So type in.
I've got it.
You got it.
And it looks like he received a $5,000 surety bond.
On the burglary.
Was it? Okay, thank you. Bond is set at 1,500. This is going to be a surety bond. Next court date is July 11th. No alcohol, no drugs, no weapons, and no contact with James Branberry III. Thank you.
And Your Honor, if I could just let Mr. Jackson know that I am going to keep reaching out to his parents while he's there.
All right, I'm sure he heard you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we go to position number 15, Mrs. Moore.
Good morning, Judge.
Morning, Ms. Helen. We have Ms. Terry Moore accused of battery, family violence, and criminal trespass causing damage to property from June 28th, 2024. Ms. Moore, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Catrice Helen. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
6 total. 2012 ID, theft fraud, dead docket. This is level 1.
All right. Mr. Thomas?
Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond for the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case, a stay away from the incident location, and the completion of an anger awareness course. The allegation as it relates to the criminal trespass is that she threw a cell phone and an iPad, ultimately damaging the property. And then as it relates to the battery family violence, it's that she struck her child, her daughter, I believe in the nose, if I'm not mistaken, according to the warrant. So that is the indicia for the request. The state would ask for the court to sign for the victim. The victim in this case is Taylor, Taylordanzey, in accordance with Marcy's law. Nothing further to add.
I don't know how to sound up for that name. Taylor, what was it? Dazon?
Danzey, maybe? Oh.
Danzey.
What's her name?
Taylor Danzey.
Danzey, okay. Ms. Danzey, if you're present. All right, not present. Ms. Helen, any objections to the bond as articulated by Mr. Pierre Thomas?
We don't have any objection to the signature bond because that's what we were going to ask for today, Judge. The only thing is that the no contact and the stay away. I believe that they were all living together. And the mother pays most of, if not all of the bills and utilities there. So to have her stay away would be very, very hard. She's also currently working and she's 49 years old. She was scheduled to work today. So Judge, we do agree to the signature bond, but just to stay away and then the no contact, the daughter I do believe still lives there.
Okay, thank you. On the battery family violence, it's going to be 2,500. On the criminal trespass causing damage to property, it's 1,000. This is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. Is to be no further violent contact with Taylor Danzey, which means, Ms. Moore, from this point onwards, by court order, you're to have no physical or verbal altercations with Taylor Danzey. Any such altercation can result in your signature bond being revoked and amended to a cash bond or a surety bond. While you're out on a signature bond, you are to enroll and undertake 3 parenting classes. And you are to attend and complete 2 anger awareness classes with the pretrial services. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And your next court date will be sent to your current address. Thank you.
What was that amount again?
3,500 total, level
Okay.
1, with 3 parenting classes and 2 anger awareness classes. Thank you.
And Your Honor, if I could just readdress position 10, I did see in the chat, it looks like Mr. Jackson's mother was able to make it on the Zoom.
Someone's trying to connect to audio. Is that the individual you're referring to?
It looks like her name right now is Cutie Pie's iPhone, which I believe that's Philonda Johnson.
All right, who is involved in Davion Jackson's case? You need to unmute and start your video now, otherwise we're moving on.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did not know how to. Hello?
You need to start your video, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right.
Hello?
Hello, yes, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes,
All right, and how are you related to Davion Jackson?
I'm his mother,
You can put your hand down. What's your name, please?
Yolanda Johnson.
All right, Ms. Johnson, his current bond for this new charge is $2,000. It's a surety bond, and his next court date is July 11th, 2024. And if he's not released on bond, then we will address it via Zoom at the next court date. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Yes, I do. Is there a
And
boot camp that's available for him?
Is there a
Miss-
what?
Boot
Miss
camp?
Johnson,
Okay.
Hi, Miss Johnson, I'm Mr. Jackson's attorney. I'm going to give you a call after court again, okay? And we can
Okay,
talk then.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Judge, that was 1,500 or 2,000?
I have
You said
1,500.
Yeah, Judge,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, did I misquote? Sorry. I'm
Yes.
not-
Yes,
no.
ma'am.
1,500.
1,500 surety bond. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's 1,500.
Okay, thank you.
And Miss Johnson, if you could stay on, and I'm going to chat you to make sure I have the correct number, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Moving on in courtroom 2.
Next, we go to position number 8, Mr. Harper.
Deputy, is there a Jelani Horton in the courtroom?
No, he waived his appearance, Your Honor.
Okay, just want to be sure. Thank you. Jeffrey Harper is case 24 CR 4213C. This is position 8 on our current calendar. He's accused of theft by shoplifting, criminal trespass, and simple assault from June 28th, 2024. Mr. Harper, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Dotis. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
51. Got an open possession of cocaine, drug-related objects. 24 SC 0000229. Look like he on probation for burglary first degree. That's 18 SC 163364.
Thank you. That's good. All right. Miss Mokaki, or yes, all right.
Yeah. The defendant was trespassing on Kroger after recently receiving a criminal trespass from that specific Kroger location. He attempted to steal $17.40 worth of body wash and then shoved the security guard and his recommendation a 5 surety bond on each count, making it a total $1,500.
Okay.
Statements, no contact with R. Carson, who is the security officer at the Kroger, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right. I'm sorry, Miss Mokaki, that was 1,500 at 500 each, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, your audio is going in and out. So at some point, if you want to stop your video, that will not, and that may help with the audio. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Mr. Dotis?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Harper is 64 years old. I do have good contact information for him, as well as a stable address. He is a lifelong resident of the city of Atlanta, and he does have family support, including a brother, Roosevelt Williams, in the area. Your Honor, he is currently his permanent address is currently with Hope Atlanta, where he is working on long-term drug and alcohol rehabilitation. Your Honor, Mr. Harper recognizes that he has slipped up and he wants to get back on track. As of today, he still has a spot with Hope Atlanta, where he has been there for 8 months, and he wants to make sure that this is just a slip up, that he's able to get everything back on track. He does recognize that his battle with addiction is a lifelong battle. And Your Honor, I think if Your Honor would allow a signature bond to allow him to get treatment and anything else in addition to the Hope Atlanta rehabilitation track.
I see here he was previously a candidate of the PAD program as well, so y'all might want to reach out to those resources. On the theft by shoplifting is 250, the criminal trespass is 250, simple assault's 500. That's $1,000 surety bond. Next court date is going to be July 11. No contact with R. Carson, and to stay away from all Kroger stores, including the one in question. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Thank you.
Next, we will go to position 21. Mr. Wade.
You sit right there in front.
It's a state versus Nathaniel Wade, accused of battery. I'm sorry, Miss Helen, could we mute? It's a lot of paper rustling. Sorry. Thank you. Nathaniel Wade is accused of battery and cruelty in the third degree from June 28th, 2024. Case number 24 CR 4229D. Mr. Wade, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Helen.
18 total. 2012 suspended license. 05 simple battery DV cruelty in the first. That was dead docket.
All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Pierre Thomas.
On a brief facts of the case is that on June 28th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a verbal dispute call at 2135 Godby Road, apartment 41-744 College Park, Georgia, here in Fulton County, Georgia. It was stated that a male and a female had gotten into a fight. The victim in this case, Miss Keisha, Kyeisha Chapman, Chatman, stated that she was struck in the face when by the defendant who ran to his apartment. The victim advised that she was approached originally at her door by her ex-boyfriend, the defendant. I believe that there was a verbal dispute that took place. It was only verbal at this point because the current boyfriend at the time was at the location, at some point he left. The victim stated that the current boyfriend's juvenile daughter was at the apartment at the time, and she did not want the child to witness the outrageous behavior, so they took the verbal dispute downstairs. At which point she told the defendant that she no longer had interest in being with him, and so she had moved on. The defendant responded, "You finna catch a bullet." The victim stated that the defendant began to chase her back to the apartment, but the door was locked, so she began to bang on the door for the juvenile daughter, initials S and C, to open the door, but the defendant was able to grab her by the waist, then struck her in the face with a closed fist to the side of her face in front of the juvenile daughter. The defendant and the victim reside in the same apartment complex, which is concerning, but the defendant did not. And when the police officers attempted to reach the defendant at his separate apartment inside of the same apartment complex, after numerous attempts at knocking, he did not respond. Our office was able to get in contact with the victim. So if we could sound for her in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. But the request from the state is, and this is in light of his 18 cycles and the statement that is almost eerily similar to a threat of an ag assault, is a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a stay away from the incident location, no contact with the victim, and the completion of an anger awareness course. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Miss Keisha Kyeisha Chapman?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Would you like to add to the proceedings?
I spoke with someone earlier. I
No,
told her I did
no.
not want to push
Stop,
for,
stop.
I don't want to press charges
Okay,
anymore. So,
all right. Please raise your right hand if you want to say something. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
yes, ma'am.
All right. The decision to prosecute this case is with the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I just want to drop charges.
Okay, then you can respond to the Victim Advocate's Office of the prosecutor, and they will take the matter up accordingly. Thank you. You may mute your screen and stop your video, please. Thank you. All right, Miss Helen?
Yes, Judge. Mr. Way is 53 years old. He is gainfully employed, has been employed with Amazon for the last 3 years. And on that particular job, he works from 1 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. And that's 4 days a week, Judge. He is a high school graduate of Carver High School. He is a longtime resident of Fulton County. He was born in Grady Hospital. He does have 8 children, Judge. Ranging from the ages of 11 to 32, Judge. And also going back to his criminal history, if I heard correctly, the last arrest was 2005 and it was dead docketed. Judge, he does not have the history to be a violent offender or a repeat offender. And just going over the Ayala factors, I don't believe he's going to leave. I think he's going to come to all the court appearances. I don't believe he's going to have any more contact with Chapman. I don't believe he wants contact. And Judge, we're asking for a signature bond based on those factors, Judge. And a total of either $2,500 each for the signature bond for those charges, Judge.
And we just like to point the court to the statement that he stated she was going to catch a bullet after she attempted to leave him, to which he disagreed with.
I noted that in the warrant. Thank you. Mr. Wade, on the cruelty charge, the bond is going to be set.
Excuse me, Judge. He was not the one that said about the bullet. That was not him. That was my dude. That was not him. He did not say that. So that is wrong. So that was my dude that said, hey, you might catch a bullet. That's why my dude removed himself and his daughter from the apartment. Nate did not say that.
All right, thank you. Mute your screen and stop your video. Thank you. On the cruelty charge, the bond is going to be set at 1,000. On the battery charge, it's going to be set at 3,000. Your total bond is 4,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 2. While you are out on your signature bond, you are to have no further contact with Kaisha Chapman and with Stella Chapman. You're also to stay away from 2135 Godby Road, the specific apartment where Miss Kaisha and Miss Stella Chapman live. If you return to that location or if you are outside while...
Judge, I no longer stay there.
Miss Chapman, I'm going to have you removed from Zoom because you don't know how to conduct yourself in court. Miss Grace, please remove iPhone Miss Chapman from Zoom. Thank you.
Okay, Judge.
Thank you. Okay. As I was saying, you can return to your same apartment, but you're to have no further contact with Kaisha Chapman and with Stella Chapman. If they still happen to be in the complex or they happen to be outside, you are under a court order now to make sure that you either return to your apartment or you drive away or walk away. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Within 30 days of being released from Fulton County Jail, you shall enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. This is a 24-week program, and you will enroll in such a program and start taking classes from that point onwards. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to possess any weapons, any firearms. If you own any firearms, they must be surrendered to the authorities for destruction within 14 days of being released. You're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and you're to report to pretrial twice a month. Thank you. Make sure your address is current with the courts at all time, and you will receive a summons to come back to court. If the prosecutor decides to dismiss the case down the road, then your obligations for pretrial will terminate. But until then, you're required to comply with pretrial. Thank you. Next case, please.
Position 18, Rodriguez.
All right, this is State versus Jonathan Rodriguez, case number 24 CR 4224E. Mr. Rodriguez, before I proceed, I just want to confirm, are you able to understand the English language? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, good. So your case is 24 CR 4224E, in which you are cited with 4 misdemeanor offenses. Hello, are you okay? Can you,
I am
is he
good.
falling down?
No, Your Honor.
I'm good, ma'am.
All right, please sit up straight then. You are cited with 4 traffic offenses stemming from a February 2nd, 2024 incident. The charges are speeding, reckless driving, improper erratic lane change, and an adult seatbelt violation. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Helen. Mr. Howard, any priors on Mr. Rodriguez?
9th arrest, 2023 trespass, probation, PI, battery DV. Those are different arrests. Shoplifting conviction, 2010 CWAC conviction, 2019 obstruction, possession of marijuana conviction.
All right, thank you. Mr. Clay Thomas?
Your Honor, straightforward facts in this case is that the defendant lost control of his vehicle and I believe struck a tree. It was said that he was going 2 seconds prior to the airbags deploying. He was going 68 in a 35-mile-per-hour zone. Your Honor, the recommendation from the state, he's currently on a $2,400 surety bond. I believe that is $600 on each. The state is okay with the reduction. In fact, the state is requesting a $1,000 surety bond. That would be $500 on the speeding, $500 on the reckless driving, and whatever Your Honor sees fit on the 2 remaining charges as a signature bond through the jail, and for him to abide by any current restrictions that are placed on his license. This is a single vehicle accident. The state is in possession of the report.
Okay, thank you. On each count, on the speeding is going to be 1,000. On the reckless driving is going to be 1,000. On the erratic lane change and seatbelt violation is going to be 250 each. The total bond is 3,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and proper registration. And yes, we can do this per judge. Thank you.
Yes.
But no driving. Thank you.
Thank you.
We can go to position number 20, Mr. Smith.
Excuse me, Your Honor, you said this was it through pretrial? I'm sorry.
Pretrial, level 1, yes. And I think you have to note per judge. I think he has an open case in Superior Court.
He got an open case? I didn't even know that.
I see a booking number under 201-4049. I don't know if it's still open.
Okay.
All right. This is Jimmy Smith. Would that be correct?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Smith, you're accused of battery, family violence, and criminal trespass causing damage to property from October 17th, 2023, under accusation 24 CR 4226Y. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Helen. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Resident of Chicago, 2023. He got 23 total, 22 out of Illinois. 2024, possession of a controlled substance. Open case out of Cook County, Illinois. It says street gang contact.
All right.
Possession of narcotics, schedule 1 and 2, manufacture, deliver. Schedule 4. I got a resisting peace officer in proper traffic lane usage. Disregard traffic control light. Petty offense, it says improper left turn. I got open retail theft. 2016 hijacking motor vehicle, that was dismissed. Armed robbery was a conviction. 2014 retail theft, armed robbery.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, this incident is from October 17, 2023. Does he have an open case in Superior Court at the present time?
That is correct. Felony, fleeing, and a slew of other charges.
Understood.
Yes.
What's the state's recommendation?
The state's recommendation on this matter is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact, a stay away from the victim, a stay away from the incident location, which is 18-0 Jackson Street Northeast. Unit 2305, Atlanta and Fulton, and the completion of an anger awareness course.
All right. Miss Helen, do you have any objections? I'm not certain if he still lives there.
That's the only objection we have. We have no objection to the signature bond. That's something we were going to ask for today, Judge. I just want to sound to hear if Miss Richardson is present on the Zoom call.
Yes, I'm here.
Judge, I just wanted to sound for her so that she can state whether or not she wanted to stay away and also wanted no contact.
All right. Ms. Richardson, please raise your right hand. All right, you're just moving on. Okay. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right. What would you like to tell us?
I wanted to inform you. I wanted to drop the battery and trespassing charges. What we went through in October, he has tried his best to correct the situation, correct the scenario, and
What do
make
you mean
amends
by
with myself as well.
What has he done to correct the situation?
So basically, paying for and replacing the television.
Okay, so the item that was damaged has been replaced. Ms. Richardson?
I think she's frozen, Judge.
Yeah, she is. All right. On the battery family, yes, Ms. Richardson, I'm sorry, your bandwidth is not allowing you to have a smooth communication. You may want to leave the Zoom and then reconnect. On the battery family violence for Mr. Jimmy Smith is going to be $3,500. On the criminal trespass is $1,500. The total bond is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 1. No further violent contact with Miss Richardson, which is I think it was it Cindy Richardson? Sydney Richardson? Okay. He may return to the location which he shares with Miss Richardson. Within 30 days of being released from Fulton County Jail, he shall enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. This is a 24-week program where he will need to attend each class and pay for each of those classes. Once he's completed with the sessions, he may submit the certificate to pretrial. Failure to enroll in such a program within 30 days will result in a revocation of his signature bond and a conversion to a $5,000 surety bond. No consumption of illegal drugs, alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. If you own any firearms or weapons, you are to surrender the firearms to the authorities for immediate destruction within 14 days of being released. Now, your next court date will be sent to your current address. Please be sure that we have a current address on you at all times. And I guess, Mr. Howard, is that per judge, considering his open case?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Next case, please.
Position number 1, Mr. Barlow.
This is State versus DeMarrio Barlow, accused of theft by shoplifting from September 16th, 2023. Mr. Barlow, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Dotis. Your case number is 24CR4207F. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, this laptop is trying to restart. So if it does, just keep going and I'll run upstairs and push Holly out the way.
Okay.
Just so you know. Third arrest. Got to open shoplifting in state court. It's 23CR005262F. On probation for shoplifting out of Clayton County. That's all.
I also have your notes, so if you want to reboot your laptop, that would be.
It said it could take up to 30 minutes, so hey, I'm not gonna try it.
Okay, all right. Miss Mokeke, sorry, there you are.
No worries, Your Honor. The defendant is accused of stealing $41.99 worth of household merchandise from the Dollar General located on Campbellton Road. The state's recommendation is a signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right. Mr. Dotis, any objection with the stay away?
No objection, Your Honor, as long as it's just limited to this incident location. Mr. Barlow did inform me that he works at a separate Dollar General in Jonesboro. So I just want to make sure he can still go to work at that location.
I was gonna have him stay away from all Dollar General stores. But okay, no, that's all right. On the bond for Mr. Barlow's second shoplifting case. I just need to see one thing. 23 CR 005262E. On the current shoplifting case is going to be a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial services. This is going to be a level 3 reporting. He is to stay away from the Dollar General store that is the victim. Actually, I'm going to require him to stay away from all Dollar General stores with the exception of the one where he works. And what is the address where he works?
Your Honor, I just know it's on Jonesboro Road. I'm happy to speak with him on the
Mr. Barlow, what's the address of your current employer?
I'm not exactly sure, but it's in front of Clayton State University.
Is where?
In front of Clayton State University.
It's near Clayton State University?
This is in front of Clayton State.
That's pretty far from here, isn't it?
Yes, I stay over there. I don't stay in Atlanta.
All right. Well, you're going to have a problem then because you have to report to pretrial once a week.
Okay. I have a car.
Okay, sounds good then. All right. So
until I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Until Mr. Barlow can prove that he works at a Dollar General, the state's recommendation is that he just stay away from all of them as you were planning on doing, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I mean, Mr. Barlow has a stable address, stable work. I don't see any reason to make him have to give up his job at this point when it's a separate
no, I'm going to stay
location.
with the same terms. If he gets into trouble at his current employer's store, then I guess he's out of a job. So right now, I'm going to require him to stay away from all Dollar General stores with the exception of the one where he works. He's to report to pretrial once a week. He has now 2 shoplifting cases with the state court of Fulton County. You don't seem to be running a good streak of luck when you visit us in Atlanta. But just to let you know, these are 2 open cases with us, and make sure you comply with the pretrial requirements. If you get arrested again, your signature bond will be revoked and converted to what we call a surety bond or a cash bond. I'm not sure what kind of bond he received in the 2023 case. So looks like it was a bind over. So Mr. Barlow, please make sure that you stay out of trouble until these 2 cases are resolved. Otherwise, you might end up staying with us for an extended period of time. Understood?
So,
all right, thank you.
In the back. Next, we go to position number 22.
And after 22, Your Honor, can we maybe do position number 4? Thank you.
Any objection, courtroom 2?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. This is Reginal Lamar Wellmaker, 24 CR 4227G, accused of willful obstruction from June 26, 2024. Mr. Wellmaker, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Helen. Mr. Howard?
41, 2020 probation, FTA, another 22.
That's good. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Pierre Thomas, anything to add?
Nothing to add, Your Honor. The recommendation is actually a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from the incident location. This all arises out of, I guess, the accusation that Mr. Wellmaker had stolen a bicycle. During the investigation process, the person who alleged that he stole the bicycle, and he had gotten into it, the officer attempted to break it up. And at the time that he attempted to detain the defendant, he began to resist and pull away. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
Hey, Ms. Helen, it will be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Please make sure that he maintains a current address with the court. This is an open, active case against him. Thank you.
Can you repeat that bond amount, Your Honor?
$1,000 signature bond through the jail. All right. Position 24.
No, position number 4.
Or number 4.
Cassidy Brown.
All right. This is an announcement for the individuals at ACDC. This is a first appearance calendar called an expedited accusation calendar. Your cases have already been formally accused by the prosecutor of the State Court of Fulton County. Please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Mr. Taquan Brown, is that correct? Oh, sorry. It's Miss Cassidy Brown. Okay. Okay. Miss Cassidy Brown is case number 24CR4209E. And she is accused of a traffic matter stemming from June 27, 2024. There is a charge of a failure to have a proper tag light, willful obstruction of an officer, and escape from custody and confinement. Ms. Brown, you've been so advised, and your attorney is Mr. Dotis. Mr. Howard, any priors?
13, 2022 obstruction, giving false name, criminal damage to property, making false statement pertaining to vehicle insurance. Got to open criminal damage in Superior Court. It's 24 SC 002185. Wanted out of Dooley County. Got a 2014 burglary, DUI, fleeing, ag assault conviction. Terroristic threats from 2017 conviction.
Thank you. Ms. Mokek?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant was pulled over, as you stated, for not having a working taillight. During the traffic stop, the officer discovered that the defendant had a warrant, and the officer detained the defendant and placed her in his patrol vehicle. The defendant then escaped the patrol vehicle and proceeded to flee. She eventually tripped over while she was running and was again detained by the officer. The state's recommendation for the tail light charge is a signature bond. For the obstruction charge, it is a $1,000 surety bond. For the escape charge, it is a $1,000 surety bond. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
All right, thank you. On the tag light, it's going to be $500. On the willful obstruction and escape, is going to be $1,000 each. It's a $2,500 signature bond through the jail with a release to Dooley County Sheriff's Office only. No alcohol, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no driving unless she has a valid driver's license and a vehicle with all the proper equipment working. Thank you.
Next, we go to position number 12, Mr. Linkus.
This is Stephen Lee Linkus, Linkous, accused of battery from October 12th, 2023. The case number is 24CR4221Y. Mr. Linkus? Yes?
Your Honor, my apologies. This was another case I wanted to see if we could, once we hear from pretrial, discuss in a breakout room.
Okay.
Thank you.
There are other individuals in the courtroom too.
Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Linkus, and he's going to allow me to address his case without courtroom too, by waiving his presence, just for this one matter, briefly, if that's okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Howard. What his priors?
17. Last arrest was June 14th out of the cab. Simple battery against person who is 65 years older or pregnant. Hold on. Got to open the cab case for cruelty to children, simple battery. What else we got? 2022 trespass, NOLO, FTAs. 2021 FTA, 2018 FTA.
That's good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Miss Grace, if you could place Miss Mokeki, myself, and Mr. Dotis and Miss Bridgewater in the breakout, please. Do we just go back to the same breakout room?
I left it open if.
Yeah, we'll just go back to the same breakout room.
Okay.
Click on the 3 dots, Mr. Dotis and Miss Mokeki. Miss Mokeki may have to be placed in the breakout room.
Yes, I'm on a different device than I was earlier.
Okay, let me look at it, Judge.
And Mr. Dotis, you will return to the same breakout room.
Understood. Thank you for the directions.
Yeah, not running the cohort,
which sometimes.
it's just so that your business is not out there.
Okay.
Hmm.
You know, Dutch law is in the grass. Second, Dutch, like I didn't realize how loud I am. Talking about other people, are just more loud. It's like, they just want to go loud. If they tell me any good information, the audio could have. They had. The same category, there's actually one that not included from. That can't say anything. But they'll get it right there. Because my attorney would see that.
All right, Mr. Linkus, we have discussed your case with your attorney and the prosecutor. Your bond is presently going to be set as follows. It's a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. You will report to pretrial services twice a month. You are to continue your MH treatment with positive impact at Church Street. You will report to pretrial that you are attending and making your appointments and show proof of continuing MH treatment and that you're compliant with all your medication. If you get arrested again, the 2,500 signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond or a surety bond. You are to have no contact with Jonathan Womack. You're to stay 200 yards away from him and not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. You're also to stay away from 2870 Far Court, that's Pharr Court, in South Northwest Atlanta, Far Court South, Northwest Atlanta. Make sure that you maintain a current address with the court. As I said, if you're non-compliant with your treatment and medication, or if you get arrested again, you will end up staying in jail for an extended period of time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, and I hope y'all open up more behavioral health hospitals because you need them.
I apologize. Judge, could you give me that bond again?
2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2.
Per judge.
Yes, sir. Who do we have next, please?
Position number 14, Mr. Miller.
It's a state versus Eddie Miller, accused of battery family violence from June 28, 2024, in case 24 CR 42238. Mr. Miller, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Helen. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2022 shoplifting, giving false name, conviction. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Helen, excuse me, Ms. McCackey?
Yes, Your Honor. The facts in this case are that officers responded to the incident location and they met with the victim, Ms. Kishana Green, who advised that her and her boyfriend, the defendant, were having a verbal disagreement when the defendant grabbed her by the neck and threw her down on the ground. Officers did observe lacerations on the victim's neck. Our office has had an opportunity to speak with the victim, who stated that her and the defendant were together for about 5 years, have no children, and no longer reside together. She did confirm the events in the warrant and stated that the parties do have a domestic violence history, but this is the first time she has called the police. The victim also stated that the defendant threatened to kill her. The victim further stated that both of them work at the airport and work in the same company, so they're often in close vicinity with each other. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Kishana Green, anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And at this time, I would ask the court to sound for the victim, Ms. Kishana Green.
Ms. Green? Ms. Kishana Green? No? Okay. Ms. Helen?
Yes, Judge. Mr. Miller is 23 years old. He does currently work at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He's making $16 an hour, and he's been there for the last several months. He has graduated from the Hateville Charter School with his diploma. He's a lifetime resident of Fulton County, and he does not have currently any children, but his mother and his dad reside in Fulton County. Judge, according to his history and going over the bond Ayala factors, I do not believe that he's going to skip town and not come to his court dates. I don't believe he's going to get arrested again. He doesn't have the history to repeat violent offenses. I don't believe there's a danger to the witness. I do hear that she may not want contact. I guess maybe if the state could specify if she does or not, but he lives at the 5356 Pennington. So we're asking for a signature bond in the amount of $1,500. We ask that there be no stay away because he lives there, or just having it shown that she doesn't live there anymore and that she's told the state that that could be enough for him to return there, Judge, and we are asking for that signature bond.
Ms. Kishana Green, please start your video and unmute.
Excuse me, Judge.
Ms. Helen, your client wants to say something.
Yes,
can you call for Kishana Green?
Yes, please start your video and unmute.
I'm here.
Ms. Green, if you could direct the video to your face, please, so I can see you.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you still reside at Pennington Court?
No, ma'am.
And do you have any more belongings there?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any reason to return to that location?
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much. If you could mute your screen, I appreciate it. Thank you. On the battery family violence, the bond is going to be set at $2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services.
Excuse me, Judge. I just want to do a correction. Eddie Miller.
I don't know who's talking, so unless you want to unmute.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm his cousin. I just want to let you guys know that he's
I
not
would not
23.
say anything at all.
No, he's not
I
23.
would
He's
not.
19.
Okay, Judge, that may be a miscalculation, but guys, just let her speak. Judge, I'll make a correction to his age later.
His date of birth is October 19th, 2004, and I believe that makes him 19 years old.
Thank you, Judge. Correction.
All right. As I was saying, it's a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. He's to have no further contact with Kishana Green, and he may return to the location at Pennington Court if that's where he lives. Please be sure that his address is current at all times. He will attend and complete 2 anger awareness classes with pretrial services. If he gets arrested again or if he violates the no further contact, the signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond or a surety bond. Mr. Miller, if you and Ms. Green work for the same employer, you are required to let your employer know about this no further contact so that they will place you at different shifts times. Do you understand? Mr. Miller?
Yes.
All right. Because if you are both working at the same shift, this will be a violation of your bond and it could expose you to being arrested again. All right. Your next court date will be sent to your current address. Thank you.
Position 13, Ms. Lyman.
This is State versus Octavia Lyman, accused of terroristic threats and acts and willful obstruction of an officer from June 28, 2024. Ms. Lyman, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Helen. Your accusation is 24 CR 4222H. Mr. Howard, any priors on Ms. Lyman?
28. Hold on. All right. 2023 probation, 21 FTA probation, 2020 disorderly conduct conviction, 2018 obstruction, terrorist threats, interference with government property conviction, 2017 ag assault, criminal damage to property conviction, 2015 burglary, obstruction, disorderly conduct conviction, felony obstruction, and a 2013 theft by taking battery conviction.
Thank you. Ms. Mokeke, what's the
Yes,
state's
Your Honor.
recommendation?
The state's recommendation in this case is a $4,000 surety bond for the terroristic threats, a $1,000 surety bond for obstruction, no further contact with the victim, Andrew Gober, and stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. The facts in this case are that the officers responded to the location in regards to a dispute with a weapons call. Upon arrival, they did observe the defendant with knives in her right hand. The officer gave a verbal command to drop the knives, and the defendant complied and threw them in the kitchen. The defendant and the victim, Andrew Gober, had finished being intimate when the defendant asked him to give her money. Upon the victim advising that he was not going to give her any more money, the defendant went into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and threatened the victim with it. The victim's roommate did observe the defendant grab the knife and did also hear her shouting. Officers attempted to arrest the defendant, and she began pulling away and resisting arrest.
Ms. Helen?
Yes, Judge. Miss Lyman is 40 years old. She does not currently have a residence. She is residentially challenged. She's not currently working, Judge, but she does have her GED. She also has her mother who lives here in Georgia, a sister who is actually a police officer with the East Point Police Department. She has 5 children and 1 grandchild, and those children range from the age of 8 years old to 27. I do hear her history, Judge, but we are asking for a signature bond for these cases. She will not be able to afford a surety bond. Any type of surety bond will be a no bond for her in this situation. And just hearing her history, the last violent charge was about 6 years ago. So I just going along the bond factors, I don't think she's going to get arrested again. She is residentially challenged, and maybe we can get some services to her so that she can find a way to be notified by the court of her next court date, Judge. But we are asking for that signature bond.
The problem with a signature bond through pretrial, given her record, is that she doesn't have a verifiable address. So we are sort of in a catch-22 on that. On the terroristic threats is going to be a 500 surety. On the willful obstruction is going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Andrew Gober and to stay away from 688 Rock Street in Atlanta, Georgia. Ms. Lyman, your current bond is $1,500. It is a split bond. And your next court date is July 11th.
How much was that good bond amount?
500.
We can go to position number 16 and 17.
Okay. This is State versus Terrez, Marquez, Perry. Mr. Perry, you have two separate cases with the court. Your first case is 24 CR 4216G, in which you're charged with battery, family violence from November 23rd, 2023. Your second case is a willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer and driving while you have windows that violate the tint violation rules. That is from June 27, 2024. Mr. Perry, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Helen. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
20 total, 2023 FTA. On probation for ag assault and ag battery. That's in Fulton. On probation in Lee County for sale of marijuana. 3 probation violations from 2022, 1 FTA. 2020 battery physical harm, simple battery conviction. 2010 ag battery robbery conviction.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas?
Yeah, the defendant actually has 3 separate cases on the calendar. They were all filed down and sent at the same time. I think this is just one of those situations where it never got a letter. But it's listed as 24 CR 004219. And I'm assuming based on the letter in these, currently on the calendar will be a G. But that charge is for simple battery family violence. The offense date is for 4/11/2024. So I'll give you the facts on all of those cases, Your Honor. Give me one moment to pull them up. Your Honor, the facts of the battery family violence case is that he's alleged to have struck the victim in this case, who happens to be the same victim in the case that's not on the calendar, Miss Toriana Thomas, Toriana, Thomas, Thomas. He struck her with a closed fist, causing swelling to the left side of her face. Officers described it as being a 50-cent size bruise under her left eye. That incident location is 164 Laurel Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, given the extensive history and the idea that he has those underlying violence probations, the state's going to request on the battery case, the battery family violence, for it to be a $5,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a stay away from the incident location, absolutely no contact with the victim, and the completion of a family violence intervention program, Your Honor. The facts of the simple battery family violence case, Your Honor, same incident location, same victim. And again, it is 4/11/24, but the allegation is that on April 11, 2024, the victim reported to the Atlanta Police Department an incident of assault. She stated that she was assaulted by her live-in boyfriend, the defendant. She advised that the defendant and her got into a verbal dispute earlier that day. She apparently hid the defendant's keys. A dispute turned physical, where the defendant grabbed the victim by her braids, threw her to the ground, and began to bounce her head on the patio floor, which is the ground. The victim stated that he hit her head into the patio floor repeatedly. Unfortunately and fortunately, the victim's mother was there on the scene at the time of the incident. She grabbed onto the defendant to let her daughter go. Eventually, he let go. And also, unfortunately, the victim's son, the initials T and D, saw the entire thing happen, and it took for the victim's juvenile son to call 911. The request in that matter is a $2,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a stay away from the incident location. Again, absolutely no contact with Ms. Thomas, and the completion of a family violence intervention program, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state investigated the willful obstruction and window tint violation. Window tint speaks for itself. The willful obstruction is, I believe, once he was notified of the warrant, he took flight. We investigated. He's currently on a $3,000 total signature bond for the two charges. I think there's no bond, no amount set for the window tint, and then the $3,000 corresponds with the willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. So we would leave that into the discretion or in the discretion of the court's hand.
All right.
If you can just sign for Ms. Thomas, there's nothing further to add from the state at this time.
I see a Tori on the Zoom. Is that Miss Tori Thomas?
Yes.
All right, Miss Thomas, if you'd like to raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Miss Bridgewater, with regards to this second case, 24 CR 004-219, it's listed and accused accordingly, so we're going to address that case as well. But
Okay.
eventually, the clerk's office will have to amend that case number to add the designation G for to link it with the case on the calendar.
Okay, so let me make sure I get this right. That case number is going to be 24 CR 004-219G.
219, no G. That's how it's listed on Odyssey right now.
Okay, and what is the charge gonna be? I'm gonna go ahead and do an order for it so you can sign it. I just need to know.
It's simple battery family violence from April 11th, 2024. And the accusation's already filed.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Ms. Thomas, what would you like to tell the court?
I actually did not speak with officers on that incident. I would not come outside. I refused to speak with them. My mother spoke with them. I did not.
So what would you like to tell us today?
I was never trying to press any charges.
Okay. All right. And are you the alleged victim from a November 23rd, 2023 incident?
I am, and we currently reside together.
Understood. And were you the alleged victim from an April 11th, 2024 incident?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And in both cases, did Mr. Perry remain at the scene when the police arrived?
Well, no, not that I know of. I was in the house.
I just wanted to know what you know, that's all. And are there any firearms in the home?
No.
Okay. If you have nothing else to add, I'll move on.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, he's been doing great though lately. Like he started work on the 6th, so this was like very inconvenient for us. And like I just found out we're 5 months. I mean, not 5 months. I'm sorry, 5 weeks and 3 days. So we're expecting. So all of that is it's not like it was a call that I made for him to want him to be in the situation he's in, because we're currently still together.
Okay. Unfortunately, the decision to whether to pursue the prosecution is solely with the prosecutor, the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. When there are already outstanding warrants, that's a matter for them to address. You can reach out to the Victim Advocate's Office to let them know about your opinion on the case. All right. All right. Please mute your screen. Miss Helen?
Yes, Judge. Mr. Perry is 31 years old. Currently, he was working at a chicken plant for several months. And then now, as Ms. Torrey has stated, he does have a job interview for the city of Atlanta, a position. And he told me that that's actually going to be Tuesday. So, Judge, he's a lifetime resident of Fulton County. He also has 3 children, ranging from the ages of 3 years old to 8 years old. Now, Judge, I do hear his history. I do hear 2 probations he's on right now. But as Ms. Torrey stated, going towards the Bondi Ayala factors, she's not afraid. They're currently living together. We're asking for these bonds to be signature bonds in the same amount, but a signature bond allowing him to potentially get hired at a new job. Judge, he does live there, so we'd ask for a modification to that stay away, allowing him to either go back or be able to return there. And we're also asking for it to be no further violent contact with Miss Torrey. Judge, we also agree with the Family Violence Intervention Program, and we would agree that if that could be through pretrial, but Judge, that is what we're asking for Mr. Perry in the same amounts, but signature bonds.
All right, thank you. Let me address first the case from November 23rd, 2023, case 24 CR 4216G, in which he's accused of battery, family violence. That's going to be a $2,500 surety bond, no violent contact with Toriana Thomas. He may return to the 164 Laurel Avenue or Street location, which he shares with Miss Thomas, but he cannot have any physical or verbal altercations with her. With regards to the newly accused case 24 CR 004219, the bond is going to be set at 7,500 signature bond through pretrial services level 3. He will report to pretrial once a week. Once he makes bond in the previous case, then he will then be placed on pretrial services for this new case. And this will be reporting to pretrial once a week. Again, no violent contact with Toriana Thomas, and no alcohol, no illegal drugs consumption, and he's not to possess or own any firearms. He is to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program within 30 days of being released, and he must report his enrollment to pretrial services within 30 days, and he must attend all 24 classes at his expense until he gets a certificate. He will continue to report to pretrial until further order of the court. And now with regards to the third case, 24 CR 4218G, on the willful obstruction of the officers, that's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, and the window tint violation is going to be $500. So the total bond with pretrial is going to be $10,000, and that's a signature bond through pretrial, but he will need to make the initial bond before he can be placed on pretrial services. Yes, Ms. Thomas?
When the one for the window tint, the car is actually my car.
I was the one that was driving. Please stop. Then make sure that you correct the window tint violation before anybody else drives the car. He's still responsible if he's operating the vehicle with the tint violation.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I was saying. I was driving.
Well, that's something the prosecutor will have to address. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, for the 4218G, pretrial what level?
So yeah, on the 4218G, on the willful obstruction is 2,000 signature bond through pretrial, level 3, and the window tint violation is 500 signature bond through pretrial, level 3.
Okay.
Thank you. His next court date is going to be July 11th.
Condition number 19. No. This is position 19.
Yeah, thank you. We have Rashad Rowe, ROWE, accused of criminal trespass from June 28, 2024. Mr. Rowe, your case number is 24 CR 4225A, and you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Helen. Any priors, Mr. Howell?
Your Honor, he has been kicked out of the system, so he's in the office with me, so I guess we need to.
I'm so sorry, Miss Bridgewater. If you'll just let him a few moments to tell us, or if you go ahead, Mr. Howard, or let me just see if I can. Mr. Pierre Thomas, are you the prosecutor in this matter?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right.
I can look it up. One moment.
According to the notes I received from pretrial, this is Mr. Rowe's 15th arrest cycle. He's on probation for simple battery under case 21-05673, in which he pled on February 8th, 2024. He's also got a 2019 battery conviction, a 2019 probation violation for failure to appear, and a 2014 battery DV conviction. Furthermore, a couple of FTOAs from 2014 and 2012. Recommended for level 3. All right, that appears to be the recommendation. What's the state's recommendation for bond?
The state's recommendation is actually a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim. Victim in this case is Shanda, Shanda Rowe, Rowe. A stay away from the incident location, 190 Cedarwood Court in Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, and the completion of an anger awareness course. The indicia for that is the victim is his mother. He basically showed up to her, allegedly basically showed up to her home, attempted to get in. She didn't want to let him in because he was irate and combative, at which point he broke her front window in an attempt to get into the residence. Nothing further to add, if we can sound from Ms. Rowe, but there's nothing further to add from the state.
Shonda Rowe. Okay. Miss Catrice Helen, does your client have any reason to return to 190 Cedarwood Court?
Well, Judge, he was residing there, but when I spoke to him, he does have another location that he can go to live.
His bond is $3,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. Level 2. He's to report to pretrial twice a month. He's to stay 200 yards away from the entire complex. I think it's an apartment complex or a condo complex, but he needs to stay away from 190 Cedarwood Court in Atlanta, Georgia. He's not allowed anywhere near that location. While he's with pretrial services, he will enroll in and complete 4 anger management classes and have no contact with Shonda Rowe, R-O-W-E. Stay 200 yards away from Miss Rowe and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. If your mother wishes to resume communication with you, she can ask the Victim Advocate's Office for the prosecutor to amend the bond order.
Yes, ma'am.
And you'll need to update the court with your new mailing address, which cannot be anywhere near 190 Cedarwood Court.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Add-on 1, Miss Wallace.
Okay. This is Miss, I think it was Anana, or let me go ahead and pull that. Yeah, is Anana Wallace, case number 24 CR 004230J. Miss Wallace is accused of simple assault, family violence, and reckless conduct from June 27, 2024. Miss Wallace, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Helen. With regards to Miss Wallace.
I got a third arrest, resident of Virginia. Intentional damage, assault, and battery arrest. I forgot to put the year down.
Do you know what it is?
I don't.
Okay. Mr. Pierre Thomas, do you have the arrest date for the Virginia case?
I can check. I'm sure I do. One moment, Your Honor.
Okay. It's not particularly important. I'm more interested in what's the bond recommendation.
The bond recommendation, even though this is quite a serious case, Your Honor, but the bond recommendation is a signature bond to the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, the completion of anger management, parenting course, and for her to abide by any and all active directives that's given to her. Our office was able to get in contact with the adult victim in the case, Mr. Malik Kenyatta, Malikkenyatta. He stated that they have a child together who is the subject of the second charge. He stated that they reside at the they reside at a location near the incident location. The victim stated that they are working on their relationship. He stated he just got out of prison. He stated that that he hasn't been around until recently. He stated that there has not been any DV history in the past, and he stated that nothing like this has happened before. And he states that he wants continued contact with the defendant and for her to return to the residence. Brief facts of the case is the indicia for the reckless conduct is allegedly Miss Wallace went inside of the Spondifits bar and left her infant child in the car for 2 hours while she did whatever. When she came out, there was a stranger holding the child after they discovered the child in the vehicle. She became combative with them. Eventually, police were called. When the police were called, the police actually were able to witness Miss Wallace attempting to strike the victim, Kenyatta. But nothing further to add from the state at this time. We can sound for Mr. Wallace. That'd be great. I mean, Mr. Kenyatta, that'd be greatly appreciated.
All right, the gentleman who's in a vehicle, Mr. Malik Kenyatta, if you'd like to contribute, well, remove him from Zoom. He needs to put on. Remove him from Zoom now. Miss Helen, do you have anything to add?
Well, Judge, I did want Mr. Malik, once he gets dressed, to give a little context to it. I do hear what the warrant says. However, her partner had entered the bar and she was waiting in the car with the baby. And once she realized it was getting kind of long, she went into the bar to check to see where he is so that they could come back out immediately. She had no intention of having it be a longer deprivation of time, and that when she came out, she was assaulted. She was assaulted by random people. Though the topic was very serious, it doesn't mean that random people can assault you. So we agree with the signature bond. We just wanted to give a little context, Judge. And we do agree with we hope there's no further violent contact with Mr. Malik. We agree with the parenting class as well as the anger management class and abiding by all DFACS conditions.
All right, Mr. Malik Kenyatta, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
What would you like to tell us?
On the accused date, I was the one inside the bar. She was outside with my child. Everything that the young lady just said is true.
What was the duration of time while you were in the bar while she was outside with the child?
We were probably at the bar for almost an hour, like 45 minutes at the most, Your Honor.
So you were inside drinking and she's outside in the car with the baby.
I was inside associating with my brother, actually, that I haven't seen because I did just get out. And he was
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, ma'am, because she was going to take my daughter back to Virginia to see her grandmother. So we were already on
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, ma'am. We were on the road.
All right, Mr. Kenyatta, I would recommend that you be quiet. Mute your screen. Mute your screen. I've read this warrant, and Miss Helen, I do understand the perspective from the defendant, and I've also understood the argument from the prosecutor. My biggest concern are the sworn allegations by the police officer, what he observed, what witnesses told him, and so forth. And this is a horrendous situation, absolutely horrendous. The conduct displayed by not only Miss Wallace, but also by the alleged victim in this case is, out of question, completely unacceptable. With regards to Miss Anana Wallace, on the simple assault, that's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Well, I'm just going to make it through pretrial. On the reckless conduct, that's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. She is not allowed to leave the state of Georgia. She is to remain in the state of Georgia. She will report to pretrial services on a level 3 basis once a week. She will attend and complete 2 parenting classes. She will complete 12 anger management classes while she's out on her signature bond. She's to have no violent contact with Malik Kenyatta. She is to not consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and and she's not to be in possession of any weapons or firearms. She's to stay away from any store, restaurant, or location where alcohol is served or sold. She's to stay away from any and all locations where alcohol is served for sold, or where they are sold. So no liquor stores, no nightclubs, no bars. And she'll need to make sure that she updates the court with her current address at all times and report to court when summoned.
I just have one point, Judge. I do hear all of the conditions from the court. She's not from Georgia. She lives in Virginia with her mom and the baby, and she was bringing the baby to Georgia to visit the father. So the condition of not being able to go back home, Judge,
All right, then I'll amend it. No problem.
Okay.
Simple assault will be 1,000 and the reckless conduct is 2,500. That's a $3,500 surety bond. And she can do the parenting classes and the anger management in Virginia.
Ms. Wallace, what do you think about that?
So on my bond, is it a signature bond or they have to pay it?
If it's a signature bond, you remain in the state of Georgia until you complete the parenting classes and the 12 anger management classes. Your contact with your child will be strictly in accordance with DFACS. Otherwise, if you want a surety bond, then you will need to do the classes in the state of Virginia and then report back with your certificates.
Okay, because I was trying to get a signature bond because I don't think.
If you have a signature bond, then you're not allowed to leave the state of Georgia until the classes are completed.
Wait, Ms. Wallace, what the judge is trying to tell you is that you have two options. She's giving you two options. She's not telling you she's going to let you go back to Virginia with the signature bond. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so she's giving you two options. Do we need to have a conversation on the phone where you think about it a little, or?
Yeah.
Judge.
Well, I'll put this case aside for a moment. Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Kenyatta, what would you like to say? Please unmute. Unmute. Good Lord.
I'm sorry, Judge. I'm new to working phones. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can. I was just trying to state that the fact of it is, I don't know from what angle that the police on the scene saw, but she never struck or hit me at all. She handed me.
That's not what's holding her down here.
I understand. I just wanted to make that clear in the
All right,
courtroom.
and you also need to be very clear that I'm agreeing with the police officer's investigation of this case. That's why I find your conduct and Ms. Wallace absolutely horrendous with regards to a 10-month-old child.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right, good. You may mute your screen now. All right,
Yes.
Miss Helen, you can go ahead and call ACDC, or we can put you in a breakout while I go on to courtroom 2. Thank
Please,
you.
a breakout, Judge.
All right, Miss Grace, if you could place ACDC and Miss Helen in a breakout, please.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
We can do the waivers because
yeah,
All right.
yes, Your Honor.
Let's start with position 2, Alishia Beard. And do your waivers require a breakout session, Mr. Dotis?
This one does not, Your Honor.
Okay. Alishia Beard is 24 CR 004 208F, accused of battery and cruelty in the 3rd degree from June 28, 2024. She's represented by counsel, Mr. Dotis, who has waived her appearance. This is position 2 on the calendar. And Ms. Beard, with regards to her, this is a 4th arrest, a 2017 possession of a controlled substance in which she's got a failure to appear, and she's got a 2016 driving without a valid license. Yes, Ms. Mokeke or Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the defendant is accused of being one of 2 women who attacked the victim, Sierra Betancourt, in her car. The victim advised that the parties were having a verbal disagreement that turned physical when the women attacked her. The victim did sustain severe swelling to her left eye, her left cheek. Her lips were also swollen, and there was bruising on her left arm, as well as scratches and bruises on her chest. The victim's 2 minor children, both with the initials CS, were present in the parking area and did witness the incident. The state's recommendation on the battery is a $2,000 surety bond. On the cruelty to children, it is a $1,000 surety bond. no further contact with the victim Sierra Betancourt or her minor children, stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Thank you. And Mr. Doris, I instructed Ms. Mokeki to switch off her video because she's having bandwidth issues, so, right? So,
Understood, Judge. I have no problem with that. Yes, Your Honor, Miss Beard is 29 years old. I believe if I heard Your Honor correctly, she doesn't have any convictions in her history. I understand this is her fourth arrest. Your Honor, I do have good contact information and a good address, which was on the intake packet, and I believe should be on Odyssey. So I do believe she won't have any issues with any future court dates. She's a lifelong resident of Georgia and the city of Atlanta. She does have support from an aunt, Latrice Savage, that I have good contact information with. She graduated from Frederick Douglass High School. And Your Honor, I saved this for last, and it's the reason that I waived her presence after speaking with Miss Beard earlier today and jail staff. Your Honor, she's the mother of 3 children. In addition to that, she's currently not working due to being 8 months pregnant. I spoke with jail staff, and while I was able to interview her, my understanding is that there is currently a medical issue with her late-term pregnancy that she is currently dealing with. Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond with the same amounts as the state is asking. Miss Beard is clear, and she does not want to have any contact with this alleged victim. She does maintain her innocence, but at this point in time, she wants to focus on making sure that she's able to have a healthy delivery and then deal with this case.
the bond is set at $3,500. It is a signature bond for pretrial services, level 2. No further contact with Caira, C-A-I-R-A, Betancourt, and no further contact with Arnetta Beard, alleged co-defendant.
What's the breakdown?
On the battery is 3,000. On the cruelty is 500. Okay, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons and firearms, and she's to report to pretrial twice a month.
Understood, Your Honor. I would ask, I don't know how this pregnancy is going to affect her ability to report to pretrial. Was she able to report by phone?
In the event that she is in the hospital, she needs to let pretrial know that she's unable to make her appointments.
Understood,
And
Judge.
then she will resume once she is back on her feet.
Understood. Thank you, Judge.
All right, next one was position 5, Taquan Brown, charged with willful obstruction of an officer on June 28, 2024, 24 CR 4210D. Mr. Brown is represented by Mr. Doris, who has waived his appearance. Yes,
Yes.
and give me a moment.
And Your Honor, while you're taking a second, I just want to note positions 5 and 7, I waived their presence due to issues with the elevators at the jail. I was able to interview them, but we weren't sure if we'd be able to have a good signal with the clients on Zoom, and we didn't want them sitting until Monday.
All right. With regards to Mr. Taquan Brown, looks like he's got an open case in DeKalb County. He's got FTAs from 2024, 2023, 2021, 2 FTAs in 2021, and a 2020 obstruction of highway. That's all I've got. And Ms. Mokeki, any recommendation for Mr. Taquan Brown?
Yes, the state's recommendation in this case is a signature bond through pretrial services, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Okay. And are there any holds for Mr. Brown at the present time? Because I don't know if that he's got a DeKalb County hold. Oof. Mr. Dotis, did your client know of any holds?
Your Honor, I was not aware of any holds. Neither was Mr. Brown.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Ms. Mokeke, did y'all NOD the marijuana and the violation of certain acts at Armada?
Yes, we did, Your Honor.
Okay, so with regards to Taquan Brown, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail to stay away from Marta property in accordance with any suspension. All right, and the last position I think was Anthony Fambro. Have we addressed that?
No.
And Judge, we're back from Miss Wallace, whenever the court's ready, sorry.
Okay, Mr. Fambro was your last case in which you waived appearance, Mr. Dotis?
Yes, Your Honor.
That was criminal trespass and willful obstruction under 24 CR 4068B from June 21st, 2024. And Mr. Fambro, appearance has been waived by counsel, and he's got 28 arrest cycles and a fray from 2022. He's got a capital offense from 2019. Looks like that may still be an open case. He's got a probation violation as well from 2019, a 2018 FTA, and a 2017 reckless conduct and possession of firearm by a convicted felon. Any recommendations, Ms. Mukeke?
It's my case, Your Honor. I've
sorry,
received,
Mr.
I've
Beaton.
received the
Yes.
receipt for today. But it's just purely based on its history, Your Honor. The recommendation is $1,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a obvious stay away from the incident location. This is basically just a refusal to leave and a resisting arrest situation.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dotis, any comment?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, first of all, this was originally on the, I believe, June 22nd.
Yes,
June
he's had
22nd.
multiple medical resets, yes.
Yes, Your Honor. So he has had multiple medical resets. I was able to speak with him briefly earlier today, but I do want to note that he has been in custody for 8 days at this time. I do understand his history. I would note regarding that 2019 incident, when I look at Odyssey, it looks like that has all been resolved with not guilty based on Odyssey, but if there's something I missed, then my apologies. Your Honor, I was able to get a good mailing address for Mr. Fambro. Again, I was able to speak with him, and this was reset due to issues with having him appear with in person. He does suffer from memory issues, and I was able to get a number and address for him, but he does struggle with health issues from our brief conversation. Your Honor, I would just ask that instead of a surety bond, he be given a signature bond. I have a good contact for mailing that he says he can get his mail from, so I'm confident that he will appear for all of his court dates.
All right. On the criminal trespass is $1,000 surety, and the case is reset to July 11th. On the obstructions, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. He's got a $2,000 split bond, and he's to stay away from the Metro store at 832 Brock Abernathy Boulevard in Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. All right, thank you. Going back to Ms. Wallace's case, Ms. Helen, how would your client like to proceed?
Judge, we're going to accept the recommendation from the court of the signature bonds, Judge. I spoke to her. She has at least 5 levels of support here in Georgia, from grandmother, 2 aunts, as well as 2 cousins, Judge. So we're going to accept that signature bond today.
It's a $6,000 total signature bond for pretrial services 1 and 5. No further violent contact with Malik Nieta. To attend 2 parenting classes, to comply with all defects directives with regards to the minor child, and to attend and enroll and complete 12 anger management classes. She must begin those classes within 30 days of being released from Fulton County jail. She'll report to pretrial once a week, and she's not allowed to leave the state of Georgia until further order of the court. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Next, we go to position number 23, Mr. Williams.
This is State versus Lawrence Williams, accused of giving false information to an officer on June 25th, 2024. Mr. Williams, your case is 24 CR 4228J. And you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Helen. Any priors, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see. Going back to my cheat sheet submitted by pretrial. And Mr. Williams, has got a 2019 looks like a disorderly conduct and a 2019 a DV charge that was reduced to disorderly conduct. So it appears to be 3 arrest cycles. Anything else, Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor. The facts of this case is that he gave the name of Gavin Williams instead of Lawrence Williams and a date of birth of June 1st, 1987 instead of his actual birth that was found on his ID card shortly after booking. Given the nature of the charge, Your Honor, the recommendation is a signature bond through the jail, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
All right. Mr. Lawrence, your bond is set at 500. It's a signature bond through the jail. No consumption of illegal drugs and no weapons. And please understand this is still an open, active case. So make sure your address is current with the court clerk's office at all times. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have one defendant in the courtroom, but he's not on the calendar. He was on the court sheet.
May I maybe have his name or booking number?
It's likely Brent Williams.
Yes.
The case was submitted along with the other cases. It's still connected, I think, to the magistrate. I've requested that it be unconnected, but I can manually submit the accusation if necessary.
All right, go ahead and do that. In the meantime, may I have a booking number?
2410798.
All right, Deputy, if you could wait for about 2 or 3 minutes. Mr. Pierre Thomas is submitting the accusation. Miss Helen or Mr. Dotis, have you had a chance to confer with Mr. Williams?
I did, Judge, and I noticed he wasn't on the calendar. I wasn't really sure why. The charge today is a criminal trespass. If you'd like for me to go into my argument, just let me know.
Okay, just give me a moment to pull the case and then.
We can go ahead and do the waiver for position 9.
Oh, that's a waiver? I thought we already completed the waivers. Let me see. Position 9.
Your Honor, position 9 was dismissed after.
Oh, position 9 was dismissed. It's a duplicate case.
Okay.
Thank you.
Judge,
Yes, Mr. Howard?
we got to back up.
To whom?
Lawrence Williams.
Lawrence Williams, okay.
Yeah, his history is on the last page. He has 7 total, 2021 out of Alabama. Dangerous drug possession, possession of burglary tools, burglary in the second. And that appears to be
Does he have any holes?
no.
Okay, I'm still going to keep with the 500 signature bond through the jail.
But the one you read, that's B. Williams.
Oh, did I? I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
One with the 2019 disorderly conviction and the simple better reduce the disorderly conviction.
Okay, Mr. Pierre Thomas, on the last case I addressed, Lawrence Williams, was the alleged fact still correct? That
The alleged facts are actually correct. I
Okay.
think my sheets were close to each other.
That's fine. I'm going to keep it the same signature bond through the jail. Thank you.
Yeah, the recommendation is the same.
All right, so we have
And I'm submitting the other Mr. Williams right now. I'm just adding his booking.
what I have AKA Brent Williams. What
That is
name?
correct.
What name are you filing the accusation under?
It's under Brent Williams. I don't have the original.
He was booked in under I. Williams. So
Okay. Because under my screen it says Brent Williams, aka Brent Williams. So yeah.
okay, and are the charges still criminal trespass and simple assault?
I believe it's simple assault, family violence, Your Honor.
Okay, are you going to NOD the criminal trespass?
No, they're both. The facts of the case give rise to both.
Okay,
And they're quite serious, if I may say. But
whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm just gonna submit this email at one last minute.
All right.
What about position number 11? Mr. Emmanuel Rufus Jones.
It will be a medical reset.
Okay.
This will be reset to July 1st at 2 p.m.
Okay. Let me see that white out.
All right, the 2 accusations have been submitted, Your Honor. Are you ready for the facts of the case?
Could you first tell us the accusation numbers, or you don't have them yet?
It didn't give me, no, I don't have the numbers yet.
Okay. All right. Miss Grace,
Yes, ma'am.
could you let us know the accusation numbers, hopefully before we conclude this calendar?
And what was that?
Defendant's name is Brent, middle name Fitzgerald, last name Williams.
Williams.
Yeah. Booking
he's-
number is 241-0798.
Okay, Judge, let me check.
And he's got a charge of criminal trespass and simple assault family violence from March 21st, 2024. Mr. Brent Williams, my name is Judge Law. First of all, please remember you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You were arrested on 2 outstanding arrest warrants, EW 0436376, in which you are you were charged with 1 count of criminal trespass stemming from a March 21st, 2024 incident in Fulton County. Your second arrest warrant is EW 0436377, in which you are accused of, is that the the first one, sorry. The first one was criminal trespass. The second one, 6377, is simple assault, family violence, also stemming from the same time and date allegedly in Fulton County. Your attorney is Miss Helen. And Mr. Pierre Thomas, do you have his GCIC?
I do, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
One moment. Your Honor, he's the individual with 3 former cycles. The last arrest appears, well, we may have more. This is the Tennessee cycle. He has three arrests in Tennessee. The most recent one is for theft of property under 500 in 2009. Well, actually, the most recent one is 2010 for driving related offense. Let me pull up the Georgia history.
All right. Tell me again, Mr. Brent Williams, I've got a 2019 DC disorderly conduct.
That is correct.
That's the only one I've got, correct? Is there more?
He has he actually has a 2022 conviction for disorderly conduct. It was in cycle 2. It was stemming out of the original arrest of simple assault, but that the arrest was in 2019, but the conviction was in 2022.
Understood. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And so he has 3 cycles out of Tennessee and 3 cycles out of Georgia for a total of 6. Your Honor, the facts of this case is that the defendant and the victim used to live together at a location of 405 Fairburn Road, apartment 24, Atlanta, Georgia 30331 in Fulton County, Georgia. The victim moved out due to some issues in the relationship. The victim in this case is Renisha, Renesha Williams, Willims. On March 21st, the incident date for this case, the defendant showed up to her apartment unannounced, boxed her car in with his car, and refused to leave. She had to call 911 to get him to leave. He ultimately left, but then came back and kicked her door in. Once he kicked her door in, he got in her face and began to yell about her allegedly cheating on him. Fortunately enough, our office was able to get in contact with Miss Williams. She advised that they have known each other for about approximately 11 years and have been married for 6 of those 11 years. They share 3 children together, a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old, although they do not currently reside together. The victim stated that they do have a history of DUI and the police has been called. The victim stated that she had to get a TPO against the defendant, but the victim stated that he would not leave her alone. The victim stated that she filed for divorce and she has been trying to leave him, but the defendant always hunts her down. The victim stated that the defendant threatened her and she is scared for her life. The victim stated that she has permanent marks on her skin due to injuries from the defendant. The victim confirmed the events in our warrants here today, and she stated the defendant is very dangerous. She wants no contact, a stay away from the 405 Fairburn Road, apartment 24 location, and a stay away from the 180 Randy Trace location. If we could sound for Ms. Williams and give her opportunity to speak, that'd be greatly appreciated in accordance with Marcy's law. The recommendation from the state, Your Honor, is a $7,500 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, a no contact with the victim, a stay away from those locations, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Nothing further to add from the state at this time.
All right. Miss Helen?
Yes,
sorry, Miss Renisha Williams is present. Miss Williams, if you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right. Well, you've heard the prosecutor, Mr. Thomas, describe your alleged feelings about this case. Do you agree with that?
Well, some of the facts have been misstated, but yes, we are currently married. We actually do reside together currently. I asked that there be no bond given because I am in fear of my life. I filed for divorce at least 3 times. I've also filed several TPOs. However, before they could be served, I've been hunted down, and essentially what we would consider witness intimidation have essentially been forced to drop everything every single time. I've fought and tried my best to get out of the relationship, to ask him to leave. He will not leave. He won't go. I've been praying for months for a way to get out of the relationship, and luckily this warrant was served on Friday. We didn't know that there was even a warrant out. So I'd ask that there be no bond. I am in fear for my safety. He does have several firearms. He has threatened me on multiple occasions. I do have permanent scars, even on my face, from violence. And he's been arrested in Fulton County for domestic violence, and I always typically cooperate because, you know, he comes with this same song and dance that he's going to be better, he's going to do right, but he never does. He's done the pretrial domestic violence courses out of Fulton and DeKalb, and nothing has changed. So I'm in fear for my safety. I'm scared for my kids. I'd ask that there was no bond given, but I, do understand that there was Mr. Pierce Thomas's recommendation. But my position is he's very dangerous, he's very violent, and honestly mentally unstable, especially now with me saying this in court. So I was asking if there was no bond be set. I want him not to come around me at all. That's my position.
Yes, Miss Helen?
Mr. Williams, hold on. If you need to speak to me do you need to talk to me before I speak to the judge?
Yes, please.
Judge, is it possible I can call courtroom 2?
You can, or we can place you both in a break.
Oh, yes. A breakout room would be perfect. Thank you so much.
I think you just go back to the court. Well, go ahead and let Miss Grace do that. Miss Grace, if you could place courtroom 2 and Miss Catrice Helen in a breakout session, please.
That's courtroom 2 and Miss Helen.
Correct.
Hold on, Judge.
And is there some way that the deputies can serve him with that paperwork since he's been eluding?
What paperwork?
The temporary order of protection, protective order.
I don't have it. Hang on. We'll get to that in a moment.
I've dropped it every time because he's got to me, convinced me.
Miss Williams, Miss Williams, stop. They need to go into a breakout, please. Okay. Ms. Mokeki and Mr. Pierre Thomas and Mr. Dodis, while we are waiting for the breakout to come back to main session. Position 1, Barlow was a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial, level 3. Position 2 was a $3,500. I can't remember. I think I made it a signature bond through pretrial services.
Level 2.
Level 2, correct. Position 3, Morgan Briggins was a $1,000 surety bond, reset date July 11th. Position 4, Cassidy Brown is a 2,500 signature bond through the jail. Position 5, Taquan Brown is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Position 6, Fitzroy Clark That's a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. Position 7, Fambro, is a $2,000 split bond, reset date July 11th. Position 8, Jeffrey Harper, is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date July 11th. Position 9, Jelani Horton, is dismissed, and I will submit that court order to Ms. Bridgewater. Position 10, Davon Jackson, is a $1,500 surety bond, reset date July 11th. Position 11, Emmanuel Jones, is reset to July 1st at 2 p.m. Medical reset. Position 12, Stephen Lee Linkus, is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2 for the notice.
Per judge.
Yeah, per judge, yes. Position 13, Lyman, is a $1,500 split bond. Reset date is July 11th. It's a $500 surety on the terroristic threats and a 1,000 signature bond through the jail on willful obstruction. Position 14, Eddie Miller, is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Position 15 is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial services for the notice, with 3 parenting classes and 2 anger awareness classes through pretrial. No violent contact with the victim. Position 16, Terrez Perry, is a 2,500 surety bond, reset July 11th. Position 17, Terrez Perry, is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial level 3. Jonathan Rodriguez, that's a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Position 19, Rashad Rowe, is
Excuse
a,
me, Your Honor.
yeah,
Back to Rodriguez.
okay.
Positions 1 and 2 were $1,000, and then are you saying charges 3 and 4 were $500 each?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
That's 3,000 total.
Thank you.
Signature bond through pretrial, no driving unless he has a valid driver's license. Position 19, Rashad Rowe, that's a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial level 2. With anger management classes and stay away, no contact. Position 20, Jimmy Smith, is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. And I believe that was level 3 with a DBIP. Okay. Position 21, Nathaniel Wade, is a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 2. Position 22, Reginal Wellmaker, is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Position 23, Lawrence Williams, is a $500 signature bond through the jail. The add-on, Anana Wallace, is a $6,000 signature bond through pretrial services level 3.
What's the contact for number 21?
Wait.
That's Nathaniel Wade. 2135, was it Godby Road?
No, the contact.
No contact.
For the contact.
Okay, Judge,
Yes, Miss Grace?
on the Brent Williams, booking number 2410798, did Mr. Pierre Thomas said he dropped the charge? Because that charge is not on link. We might have to use the warrant numbers because I'm unable to pull it in.
Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Yeah, I've been trying since I guess almost 10 o'clock this morning.
Okay,
there's a
yeah,
link
because
that-
it's
yeah.
not there.
You may have to do a separate accusation.
On these two new, my question, he need a whole new accusations for these 2 charges that he got picked up on from yesterday. What is it? Simple assault and what was it? Criminal trespass, correct?
Yeah, the charge itself didn't change.
So what did you
I
say?
might have added family violence to the simple assault, but the charges are substantially the same.
The same. Okay, so All three charges going up under one accusation?
It's not 3 charges, it's 2.
And what-
There are 3 charges on the screen, Mr. Pierre Thomas. There's one simple assault family violence from August 8, 2019.
Okay.
And then the 2 charges from March 21st, 2024 for Mr. Brent Williams from is simple assault and criminal trespass. Were you going to amend the simple assault to family violence?
Yes.
Okay, but do you have the case number for those charges?
I have the number that's linked to it, like the 24 hyphen number.
Yeah, the
Okay, sure. And it's 24-3664.
Hold on.
And I think because it was never unlinked, the
Yes,
accusation that I submitted.
that's the problem. We can't, magistrate have to unlink it. That's what the problem I'm running into.
Oh,
I already have that. Magistrate court did not, you say 24-3664, correct?
that's correct. And
Yeah,
that
that
number
case
is on
have to
the-
be unlinked before it can be accused, and they didn't unlink it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So the warrant numbers for those 2 charges, because that other case was already heard, Judge, from what
That's
I'm looking at,
okay.
from August.
No, none of these cases have been addressed.
Okay, let me go back to my history. Oh, that's Lawrence Williams.
All right, Ms. Helen, while we are still trying to go through the logistics of getting the accusation set up for Mr. Williams, he's still arrested on these outstanding warrants. So the question now becomes bond.
Yes, Judge. So I've spoken to Mr. Williams. Currently, he is employed. He currently works as a sales representative for a Sage Solutions company. He's worked there for a month or so. And so prior to that, he's also worked with High Off North American Company as a sales representative for 6 months. So he is gainfully employed. He does have his diploma from a Houston high school. He's a resident, or at least he's from Memphis, Tennessee, but he is a resident of Georgia, and he's been here for the last 8 years. As the state has said, he does have 3 children, ages from 2 to 7. They're all boys. Judge, I do hear the history and that the state has given. I also have heard the alleged victim's testimony about what happened. Judge, we are still asking for a bond, for a signature bond. We understand if there's going to be a no contact, that's fine. We also understand there's going to be a stay away. I also have explained to him about the 200 yards. Judge, the reason that I'm asking for the signature bond is that he'd lose the job. He'd have no place to live because he's not going to go back to that address. How would he also be able to help and provide for his 3 children?
He doesn't. I pay for everything.
Hang on, Miss Williams. Miss Williams, this is not a conversation between you and the public defense attorney. One more time you interrupt, you'll be in the waiting room. Thank you. Sorry about that. Miss Helen, please continue.
And no, I do understand as far as like her position here, Judge, but as far as for Mr. Williams, he cares about those children. We even talked about, okay, if it's a stay away, that means 2 football fields. You need a third party so that you can have your children. You cannot go get them. You cannot try to use anything to get anywhere near her. It'll be 2 football fields. You won't be able to see her. Now he understands. And then also we talked about if there's a TPO served today, he understands if that's served. And I explained to him how much more serious a TPO is. It'll have even consequences of felony charges if it's violated. So we did talk about those things. And I do hear her testimony, Judge, but Mr. Williams would like to fight this charge on the outside. Given his history, I do hear the simple assault, but it was reduced to a disorderly conduct. So he doesn't have a long-standing violent history on record. I do hear her testimony, but on his record, it's not there. So we are asking for that signature bond, and it can be put in the bond. If he violates it, it goes to a cash bond.
Okay.
Upon investigation of that case, it was a simple assault, family violence that was reduced to a disorderly conduct. He pled guilty to that in Fulton County here in 2022.
Okay, Mr. Pierre Thomas, have we resolved those logistics for the accusation and the unlinking and all that?
Not with the unlinking, but the case that I think the other case that you were seeing in the jailing screen is this case, is that disorderly conduct that was changed from the simple assault, family violence.
I'm just looking at the two warrants, the ones from March 21st, 2024.
That's correct. And so we haven't unlinked it. I've reached out to everybody. I've tried. You know, I'm assuming the Saturday is messing things up.
Okay, we'll blame it on the weekend then. Okay. Miss Renisha Williams, what is the latest family violence petition that you have filed in the Fulton County Superior Court? You need to.
My apologies. So, Your Honor, the last time I filed a TPO was probably 2000 and maybe 22, maybe 2020, 21.
So there are no existing protective
They're not, because they don't work. They don't work. Once I took one out at the Fulton County Court.
Miss Williams, you are an extremely angry woman, and I really don't need all the collateral narrative. So there is no existing petition for a protective order at the present time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to set a bond, and then on Monday morning, you are going to, if you want to, it's entirely up to you. You can go down to the Fulton County Superior Court, to the Safe Family Office, and file a petition for a protective order against Mr. Williams based on these allegations from March 2024. If he's still at the Fulton County Jail, you can definitely let the sheriff's office know so that they can have him served. But if he bonds out, then he needs to be served at his residence, which according to our booking screen is in Fairburn. Would that be correct? Do we have the current address on Mr. Williams?
Yes, Judge, it's the 4050 Fairburn Road, apartment 4. They were living together, so.
That's not his current address then. So what's his current address?
My grandma's house. That's my grandmother's house.
Okay, so what's his current address, Miss Helen?
My house.
You don't have it?
I do not. I only had it as the 4050.
So we don't have a good address on Mr. Williams either.
Mr. Williams, can you give me your address?
Yes, I live at 180 Randy Trace. And ma'am, I live at 180. My mailing address is 405 Fairburn Road. But me and Renisha,
where do you live?
We share a house together. We live at 180 Randy Trace. So that's why this is
180 Randy Trace.
Yes, ma'am.
In what city?
We live in it's Covington, Georgia. So I need to get my
Wait, Williams, wait. Now we have the address. Judge, since we have this address.
What's his zip code?
30014.
Thank you. Miss Williams, do you live at that location?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so that is the victim's location. So that address won't work. Because he cannot live there.
Mr. Williams, do you have a separate address?
A separate address for me to live. Oh, yes. I can live on my brother's address. It's the Osprey. It's the Osprey apartment complex.
What's the address?
Off Howell Mill Road. That's the corner of Howell Mill and 10th Avenue. And his apartment number is 520.
So he doesn't have the address. Okay.
What's the name of the apartment complex?
Osprey, the Osprey.
I can't hear you.
It's the Osprey. The Osprey. OSPERY. It's the apartment complex. At the bottom of it is a restaurant called Snooze on Howell Mill.
That's not an address, sir.
Give me 1 second, Judge. I'm gonna Google it here to find it.
Or you can contact his mother.
Oh, I have him, Judge. It's 980 Howell Mill Road, Atlanta, Georgia. And what did you say that apartment was? 520?
Yes.
And Judge, the correct, I guess, spelling of the apartment name is OSPREY Apartments.
980 Howell Mill Road, apartment 520, Atlanta, Georgia. Zip code?
The zip code, I believe, is.
No, I'm not.
Oh, it's 30318.
Okay, thank you.
But I can't, Renisha had, our finances are linked. I have no money.
Well, wait, okay, wait, Mr. Williams, let me do that. So yes, he is employed, but he just paid all of his financing and things for, I guess, children and whatever he needs to where he has no money. So if there was a surety bond given today, it'll effectively be no bond and he'd lose the job.
Okay. On the criminal trespass is going to be 2,500. On the simple assault, that's going to be 4,500. His total bond is going to be 7,000. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Renisha Williams, to stay away from where she lives. He is to have no contact with the minor children, subject to a Superior Court order setting up supervised visitation pursuant to a divorce action. So if Ms. Williams wishes to file a divorce action, Mr. Williams should respond so that a Superior Court order can establish an order with regards to visitation and custody.
Will I be able to, excuse me, Your Honor, I'm sorry, but will I be able to allow, can I have an order to be able to get my things from my home, please?
No, sir, you're not allowed back at the location.
May I have a sheriff escort me over there?
No, sir. You are not allowed. I'm looking at the allegations of the warrant. You're not allowed back at that location at all.
The location is 180 Randy Trace.
You're not allowed back at any location where Miss Renisha Williams resides.
No problem, ma'am. That's not an issue. I just don't know how to, I don't know how to get I have my work computer at our house. I don't know how to get my things.
Make sure that you respond to any petition for a protective order, and a Superior Court order can set up the provisions for any alleged visit to retrieve items, any alleged visitation and custody with regards to the children. Given the nature of the victim's allocution, the court is very concerned that this is a explosive situation and you're required to stay away.
No problem, Your Honor. I'm agreeing with staying away, but I'd have to get my things I work on Monday.
Judge, is there a opportunity for a one-time escort, or to have someone all together, just someone completely all together, get his things from the one location?
Miss Renisha Williams, does Mr. Williams have any personal belongings with you?
He does, but I don't have an issue like having maybe my brother take them to his brother's house, if that's okay. Or something, or them exchanging it at a police station.
What is his brother's name?
His brother's name is Brian Williams, and
Okay.
I'll have my brother DeMonte Madison.
Understood. Miss Renisha Williams, please pack up all of Brent Williams' stuff. Brian Williams, what's his, Brian Williams, not Brent, Brian Williams, is that correct?
Is the brother, yes.
Okay, so Brian Williams is permitted a one-time visit with a police officer to your location to pick up all the boxes with items belonging to Brent Williams. So Miss Williams, make sure you pack everything up.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Brent Williams, please unmute courtroom 2.
Your Honor, can my father accompany my brother?
No. Your brother goes with a police officer. End of story.
I don't know if my brother will be necessarily, I know my father will. My brother will get my computer. He will, but all my things I have a.
We've already discussed this, Mr. Brent Williams. Thank you very much. From now on, these matters are dictated by the court and not by you. Ms. Renisha Williams, as I already advised you, you may go ahead and file a petition for a TPO on Monday morning. And if Mr. Brent Williams is not made bond, he can be served there, or he can be served at the address he's provided, 980 Howell Mill Road, apartment 520 in Atlanta, Georgia, 30318.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Williams, please unmute. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What about I'm sorry, ma'am. What about my children? And
I've already said no contact with the children until there is a Superior Court order determining joint visitation and joint custody, either pursuant to an active divorce case or to an active petition for a protective order. So please be sure that you accept service for any or both cases so that you may adequately respond to any visitation and custody issues. And please be sure to retain counsel to address those.
No, Your Honor, I have no way of paying a bond. I'm not making any money. Ray and Renisha share finances. Like, we do this together. Like,
Understood. Your next court date is going to be July 11th, and at that time we will address this matter. Thank you. That concludes the case. Miss Helen, we've already gone over the calendar with Mr. Dotis. Would you be able to cover that with Mr. Dotis?
I sure will, Judge. Thank you.
All right. That concludes our calendar. Anything else, folks?
No,
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Y'all have a good weekend then.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.